What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you all know, is the podcast where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the numero uno scumbag, Rex Ruger, REXXX. You can also put me down in the books as the King of Sleaze, a.k.a. the Hair Mental High Priest, and most importantly, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., and I have been noticing there's a hell of a glare in my studio lighting off the poster. So Diamond Dave is going to get a darker, more richer poster conducive to this lighting where his magnetic charm can ooze through the screen. And as being his son, you might also know me as, and you should know me, the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked a lot of grams. I got a million fans because I'm your ice cream man. Mr. Wop Bop Loo Bop Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn. Feeling good. Everybody in the house, of course, looking good, including my beautiful audience. I get this beautiful with this. Enough said. Coming to you as always from the Lavender Lounge of Love, where you look at this place. Joined as always by the great, the always great, Keith Hernandez Puppet, bringing you together, bringing you the No Frills podcast. You don't get no frills because we suck at technology. You see me inviting my guest. It's a complete look behind the curtain. I'm a fucking stumbling, bumbling fool. But I do give you thrills, and that is looking into this face, the face of a rock star, the second greatest frontman to ever do this thing. And by this thing, I mean rock the house, which I do with my Passion Glam Sleaze project, Love Sword, by the way, still looking for players, which nobody seems to want to take me up on. I don't understand. Everybody is just plain out scared. Am I that intimidating as a front man? Ooh, yeah, I guess I am. Fuck, I get it. I get it why the offers aren't pouring in. The mirror never lies. Whew. Damn. Well, again, as I said, you do see a look behind the curtains here. You do see my half-assed attempts at working technology. I always say it. I am the anti-Motley Crue of the podcasting world. There are no smoke and mirrors tricks. I'm not piping in any backing tracks. This is live and direct. And there's my guest right now, speaking of legends. So we're just going to get down to it and chop it up with them. I am ready to go on another episode of Pod Scum. Excited beyond words. What's up, my dude? Wow, man, it's finally good that we got the chance to do this. I feel like right off the rip, Robert Cardenas, that there might have been a little bit of laughter at the golden, luscious locks here of Diamond Dave Jr.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I see that. Nice.
How are you doing, man? How are you doing?
All right, dude. I'm doing all right.
Awesome.
What's going on?
You know, do you constantly playing guitar and Possessed? Do you constantly have to be faced with the whole, which came first, the chicken or the egg? What is their actual answer? Possessed or death? Who started this whole goddamn thing?
Well, I mean, I actually play bass. I'm not a guitar
bass.
player.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I'd have to go with Possessed, dude.
I feel like it.
It's a given, you know. You look at 7 churches, and what can you do? You know,
yeah.
The words are on there. So
yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's cool. I like your SCUM poster there. It's cool.
Thank you. You know what? A funny story about that. I had to move it. It was originally over here on my David Lee Roth poster, and I was just telling my audience how I get my studio lighting gives quite the glare, and you can't see the homage that I pay to Diamond Dave. So I'm actually like looking for a darker background and a darker David Lee Roth poster. But but SCUM was originally over there, and one of my guests said, the way your head is, you're blocking the S. I thought it just said "come" over your shoulder the whole time.
Oh wow!
And I was like, yeah, that's not good. That's got to get moved. That I can't.
Yeah. You don't want to
That's
have
not
come
sending
on,
the best
come on
message.
your shoulder, right?
No, no, I don't. If I can backpedal for a minute, man, what was your upbringing like? Like, how soon did you know that that music was something you wanted to pursue as a career? Did you aspire to do anything else originally?
Damn. I don't know. I guess early, maybe when I was like 15, I started. So, I mean, listening to all the early '80s shit, that
Yeah,
kind of got me into it. So, yeah, I probably have to say, Van Halen, Maiden.
yeah,
So, yeah, hearing all those fucking deep bass lines and all the great guitar work, like, how can you not, get into
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Fuck
And
yeah,
when you
dude.
look at a guy like Jeff, the great Jeff Becerra, I mean, who you play alongside every night, and you look at everything that he's been through, and he's still up there. God bless him, rocking and putting on a better show than most fucking frontmen who aren't in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? That guy is a true rock fucking warrior. What's it like working alongside him and just seeing what he does on a nightly basis? What happened? Did I lose you? Oh, there you are. There you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as for the question, yeah, jamming with Jeff is fucking awesome, dude. I mean, what can you say? I mean, you turn around and you hear this great voice,
Yeah.
it's like kind of breathtaking, for me. I've never really played in a band with somebody with that kind of vocal talent. So, I mean, Agent Steel, that was a totally different type of vocal range. So, but yeah, I mean, Jeff is fucking great, man. Right? The roar, right?
Yeah, yeah. Nobody does it like you. And you've got quite the tenure though. Like how many years now are you looking at put into this band?
I started in 2012.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it's been like already 10 years
yeah,
plus a
yeah.
year, I guess, 11.
And shit, that's a nice run with a band these days, I would imagine. You know what I mean? Because it is tough out there, man, in the music world, man. You guys really, really, really got to fucking be out there hitting it hard nowadays with live shows and merch, right? Like, I mean, it's terrible, right? I mean, it's fun, but it just sucks that musicians aren't getting paid like what they really deserve.
Well, I'd have to say the last 2 years, we didn't really do anything.
Yeah,
So it kind of feels like I've been in the band 8 years, really.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
10 years because, we got robbed for fucking 2 years or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the longer we go on this, I think with the better we get. Like the longer you ride the horse, the better it gets with the horse. Everything works together like a fucking machine. That's the whole idea, dude, is getting it to work correctly. Just like anything else in life.
And you guys put out in 2019 Revelations of Oblivion, and then a year later, 2020, everything's hunkered down, and we're in this fucking quarantine. How did that affect specifically what you and you guys were doing as a band at that time? What kind of impact did COVID had? Did it derail a lot of shit? Did it jam you guys up quite a bit? Your video's frozen. I still have your audio though. See, folks, this is technology right here, though. This is the world we live in right here. It's happening live and direct. Obviously, you guys know this is the No Frills podcast, so we don't edit nothing. Go. There he is. He's back again. Thankfully, he's unfrozen. Yeah. So before your video got frozen, I was asking you, Revelations of Oblivion comes out, and then COVID hits. How did that affect you guys as a band? Like, did it derail a lot of fucking plans? Like, did you have a lot of big shit in the works?
Yeah. I mean, actually, it hit like right when we were leaving to do the West Coast or the East Coast. I mean, so it hit on a Friday. I think it hit us on a Wednesday when shit started freezing down. I was supposed to be in Sacramento to rehearse to start the East Coast tour. So that's the one that we just finished. That was a makeup for, for the COVID one. So, but, of course it fucked everything up for everybody. I lost a lot of friends because of it. So, But here we are, man. We're still going.
Yeah.
We got a lot of shit coming. A lot of shit coming.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good because, and I think certainly, man, when people go out to see a band like Possessed live, they're not only seeing a great show, but they're obviously checking a huge band off their bucket list. I mean, seeing like a band like Possessed is like literally seeing like and I totally agree. And I know it's tough not to be biased when you're in the band, but I would agree that Possessed slightly in the door before death, I feel like on the whole forefront of the death metal genre.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Jeff's still here, so we still have him. It sucks we lost Chuck, man. But yeah, I mean, come on out, check out the show. It's fucking it's something epic that you gotta see before it's all done, said and done. So, but yeah, man, we're having a great time doing it. We got this European run coming. I actually have to leave in like fucking 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna be out there for a month, and then we're coming back. We're doing the West Coast, finally, United States West Coast, in late October. So we're hoping it's with the people that we're planning to do this with. It'll be a special announcement.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming up soon.
And what is the fucking the typical itinerary that you guys at this stage of your career? You know what I mean? Like obviously Jeff health wise has been through a lot. We obviously don't do the same things at an advanced stage as we did when we were fucking 20. Like what's the comfort level now for you guys going out on tour? Is that something that you guys talk about, like having a set amount of time to go away for that works for everybody in the band?
Well, I mean, we're just trying to take it slow, instead of like partying too much and all that shit.
Yeah.
I know sometimes, people like to have a little bit, a little bit too much to drink sometimes, but it is what it is, man. We're trying to live life, and life's too short to be fucking dicking around with bullshit, let's try to enjoy it a little bit. But yeah, man, we're just trying to take it slow. Thinking about shit before we do it, making sure we're on point, and making sure we're in tune. That's pretty much it.
And for those who may not know, are you somebody who devotes 100% of his attention to one project at a time? Like, is Possessed your main focus, or do you have other endeavors going on? I see a lot of people are like in like multiple bands, and they're able to really seemingly love to juggle a lot of projects. Is that you, or do you like kind of just having all your eggs in one basket, kind
of? Well, I mean, I did play in other bands, but things have slowed down. I focus a lot more on this band, on Possessed, but I have like my own little project I do on the side, little rock project. But yeah, Possessed is basically that's what I'm focusing on. I don't know about the other members. I can't speak for everybody else.
Yeah. But as that band kind of being like, Jeff's still there, one of the original members, when you guys do make music together, what's the creative process like? Is it collaborative? Is it Jeff coming in with the lion's share of the ideas? Is it all you guys kind of contributing?
It's everybody just making up riffs, and everybody's sharing them, and that riff sounds good.
Yeah.
And then we just start putting stuff together. So yeah, that's basically the way we do it. Claudius has been throwing in riffs a lot. Jeff throws in a lot of riffs. I throw in riffs here and there,
Yeah.
But yeah, Dan's kind of like the one that gets everything and kind of molds it all together. So yeah, it's working out. I think we're like on song 7 or something like that. But
okay, so you would say there's a timeline on some new these would be a new Possessed album. Well, first of all, before I get to that, did you guys have being an old school band, does Jeff and or the band have a set idea in mind about the release format in terms of like, does Jeff still like to do old school LP? Obviously, you're seeing a lot of people putting out EPs, or they're flooding the market with singles, trying to keep their name out there. I mean, there's a lot of different ways acts attack it nowadays. The different bands. How does Possess want to release music? Full album?
Full album.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's Nuclear Blast, so you know we're not here to be dicking around with EPs and all that shit. I mean, if we had like extra songs on the side, but I want to kind of, you know, everybody wants to focus on just putting a whole slab of music together. So yeah, that's the goal right now.
I like the idea of the possessed mantra being what you said. You know what I mean? Not worried about no fucking EPs. We're not here to piss around.
Well, I mean, you know, it's cool throwing EPs out, but I mean, if you have enough, you know, songs to do it a full album, why not do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have enough riffs to go out there. We have a shitload of riffs, so yeah, it's just, you know, having the time to put it together and all that. I mean, we're getting it together. We'll have something hopefully by the end of the year. I'm hoping, but can't promise, you know, these days.
Seven Churches. The album Seven Churches, a seminal, vital, important album in the death metal genre, right? I mean, still stands the test of time to this day.
Oh yeah, totally, dude. Come on. I mean, everybody loves that fucking album. You know, Legions.
Yeah. A slab of a masterpiece. Now, when you guys are out playing live, like, what's the reception to like newer stuff? Do you guys tend to want to lean, you know, on that old Possessed era stuff, or is it a nice blend of both?
It's a blend of both. Yeah, we don't, you know, we try not to take out too many old songs from the set. We've been putting in some new ones, but you know, we kind of keep a balance of both. So it works pretty good. I think the fans appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Old school fans, I think, are always gonna, you know, at least I feel like, being a 50-year-old guy, I feel like I get where the singles and EP thing comes from, but then it just leaves you wanting more. Yeah, you can get the album and you can listen to it all the way through, but then you can also go back and keep on listening to it, and you've got a nice big, you know, swath of music there to fucking peruse through. I like that, you know? I mean,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, like check out like Bloodstock.
Yeah.
You know, or check out, you know, live at a Rock Hard Festival. That was a good one for us. So yeah.
Now, what about touring? How has that dynamic changed, like, for you, you know, as you've gotten older? You know what I mean? Obviously, it's a rigorous, you know what I mean? It's you know, people always fucking make the claim that rock and roll is a young man's game, but yet some of the fucking great bands are still out there fucking kicking ass and doing it for us fucking 50 and over guys. I fucking love that. And putting on better shows than guys fucking half their age too. But that being said, you know, how's the dynamic of touring for you these days? How's your health? You know, do you have to take any special precautions? You know what I mean? Like, what's the toll that it takes on you nowadays?
Well, yeah, totally. I'm 55. So yeah, I mean, don't drink so much. You know?
There it is, kids.
That's a good one. Maybe quit drinking.
Yeah.
That'll help. You know, drink a lot of water. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, there's a lot of things, man. I mean,
yeah. And like, what about did you contribute personally, like, a lot of backup vocals?
Fucking exercise, like, but yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, that's what I do for myself. So.
Now, what about backing vocals? Are you somebody that in the live or on the albums is active in the background vocals, and if not, you know, what's the best way when you're doing that kind of extreme metal, like Jeff, even, for instance? You know, do you notice that he has any kind of a pre-show ritual or any specific throat care that he does? Obviously, it's very rough singing that kind of music on the old vocal cords.
Yeah, he usually drinks a cold beer.
That'll do it.
Right before he walks out there, or rolls out there, I should say.
Yeah.
But no, not really. I mean, sometimes, yeah, we'll drink a beer or two before we go up there. I'm not gonna fucking lie, take the edge off a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, we don't really have any certain ritual or anything. Everybody warms up on their guitars and, you know, stretch up a little bit and get ready to fucking do it. That's pretty much it.
And as a fan of music, you know, how you know, when you're able to sit down and decompress and actually listen to music as a fan, do you try to listen to like newer bands, or do you invariably kind of fall into that trap that us older guys fall in doing? You get time to listen to music and you end up listening to the shit that you listened to years and years ago, or are you good at like finding, because there's so many songs and bands and albums coming out on these streaming platforms. You know what I mean? Like, what are your listening habits like when you're listening as a fan? Did I lose your video again? I think you froze up a little bit. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
I can hear
a
you.
little bit. Yeah. But I mean, I think that the gist of the question is like if I'm looking into some of the new stuff coming out.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right. Like what your own
Yeah,
listening
I
habits.
check out a lot of the stuff. Yeah, I mean, I usually try to listen to some new stuff. I like the new Necrot that came out. That's that fucking badass stuff.
Yeah.
But it's
Hold on, folks. Stand by.
yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it, dude. I mean, try to listen to new stuff once in a while on the radio, whatever I can hear. I mean, if I see something live, but that's pretty much it. I mean, there's no other. It's kind
I got
I mean,
frozen there.
I don't really.
There you go.
There's not much of a radio station.
What's going on? We're getting a fuzzy connection here between us right now. You're getting frozen a lot on your video end. That's the only reason why I haven't. Folks, the technical difficulties are real. Do not think that everything happens conveniently in podcast land. People's audio and video does get frozen. The last couple of minutes have been a little choppy and frozen, but you know what, man? When you're podcasting, I've learned in doing this for almost a year now. You literally are working without a net. You cannot even believe for a second, man, that this technology is not going to be fucking fallible. It just is, They'll never have it all worked out. It's just impossible. I mean, I watch podcasts on top of doing one, and you get fucking glitches, man. You would think that would be a high priority, man, with how much technology is spoiling us nowadays. That connections would be flawless.
Yeah, very true. Very true. That's just the way the world is these days.
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
Yep, absolutely fucked up. Absolutely fucked up. And speaking of the world being fucked up, man, if you're going to write music or write songs or whatever, what's the impetus for you to come up with material? Like you're obviously writing music that's extreme metal, angry sounding. Obviously, we know that Possessed certainly leans a lot on like, blasphemous, dark, or shit. If you're going to write that kind of stuff, is there something that particularly inspires you, angers you, news, movies? Where do you draw inspiration from?
Well, I mean, I don't write the lyrics for Possessed. Jeff does.
Okay.
So a lot of the stuff he writes, it's pretty much just the way the world is. How fucked up the world is. The world's pretty fucked up, and that's what Jeff writes about. So.
Yeah. There's never a shortage of that.
Yeah. Just go ahead and read the lyrics, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, it pertains to a lot of shit even these days.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you get older in this business, is it realistic to think, that you could ever put a stop date on a music career, or is that just like a fallacy? Like, would you do music until like the wheels fall off? There's not really like a time when you want to step away from this. Is there a time you want to step away from this? Have you ever thought about that consciously?
Well, it's funny you said until the wheels fall off, because that's what Jeff told me. Yeah, that's what Jeff told me. Yeah, we're gonna do this till the wheels fall off, and I was like, until your fucking wheels fall off, fucker. But nah, it's true, man. I mean, till the wheels fall off, dude. I mean, what can you do? I got nothing else. I mean, I love, doing other things, but this is my main thing. So that's pretty much it.
And do you have you ever been on the end of the production aspect, or do you like any of that behind the scenes stuff, or do you just like being like a creative cog in the machine, you know, coming up with riffs, helping with the musical aspect? Or, you know, have you ever dabbled with or wanted to like produce or do any of the behind the scenes stuff? I know some people dig that and some people do not, you know what I mean? Like some people don't like all that technical button pushing and all that kind of shit. I mean, it's one of the things about doing a podcast that I dislike the most. All right, that's okay. I'll just yammer on. You know, this is what you do on the fly again without a net. When he gets frozen, I just yammer until he's unfrozen. That's all. Bump the gums a little bit until he comes back on. But again, we're being joined here by Robert Cardenas. Cardenas. I think I'm saying that right. I ought to be. It sounds right to me. Looks great on paper. Sounds like what I'm saying. Possessed. Jesus, man. Already a long tenure with the band. And I don't know. People could certainly refute in the comments section which came first, the chicken or the egg. I think we've lost him and he's going to come back in. I hope. But Possessed, I mean, come on, folks. Let's, you know, we can go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with who came first. You know, Chuck Schuldiner in Death, Jeff Becerra, and Possessed. I mean, you know, you can hash it out and hash it out and hash it out. But at the end of the day, a lot of it is very subjective. But I don't know. I feel like the Possessed just might edge them out a little bit. I don't know. And of course, we're hoping we can get Robert back in here. And you know, he can get his technological you know, kinks worked out. I certainly know all about that. Folks, we fly without a net here at the No Frills podcast. That's right. No slick editing, no slick tricks. I'm not piping in no backing vocals. I would like some. Once in a while, the fucking Keith Hernandez puppet would say something back there instead of just holding the beautiful autographed stick Bengoff baseball. But hey, there's Robert. He's back again. I knew he'd come back, man. I knew he'd come back. Just gotta follow the link. Back. Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's flying without a net. And I'm too old. I'm too old in my age, at 50 plus years age, to edit shit. So I just let it fucking fly. I'm probably one of the only, and I hide it in plain sight by saying it's the No Frills podcast. I can't put shit up there. I don't know how to put shit bouncing across your screen and intro music and cool shit on there, man. I do what I can do, right? I mean,
it is what it is.
But I think we were saying before that though, man, that like you know, music is certainly something that you'll do until, as we said, you know, before you know, the wheels will fall off. So but I think I was asking you about behind the scenes stuff, producing, any of that kind of stuff. Like, you know, would you always feel like you'd want to be doing something in the music business, even if it wasn't being up and being an actual like you know, artist?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like helping bands, so yeah, anything. I used to work for a record label a while back, so yeah, it's fun, man. Helping out other artists achieve their goals and shit like that. It's cool, totally. Yeah.
Is it tough when you've been doing it a long time though, man? Because you know, obviously, it's such a feast or famine business right now, with the whole landscape of the business having changed. You know, do you have the words to say when a young artist says, you know, how do I catapult my band and progress my band, propel myself forward, you know, in this music industry? You know, what do you tell them? What is the key nowadays? I see bands still make videos and put them up on YouTube. People still wanting to make great albums and EPs and stuff. You know, is it writing a great song, putting out a great album, getting on a great tour? Like, you know, how do you progress yourself in today?
Try to write as many songs as possible.
Yeah.
Like, if you could put out fucking 3 albums in 1 year, do it.
Yeah, be busy.
You know, the whole idea is to
that does make
write songs correctly. You know what I mean? The more, it's like practice makes perfect. You know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter on what genre you play in. Like, if you were to write at least 3 songs a week, kind of like Eddie Van Halen did. You know, he had like fucking, you know, walls of recordings and let me pick this fucking riff. You know what I mean? Like, if it's pretty much, that's what it is, dude. You know, if you want to be a musician, you want to sell your music, you got to learn how to perfect your craft. So
yeah,
my advice is practice writing music by writing a song, maybe 1 or 2 every week.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Do you
pretty
feel like
much it.
sometimes, man, like bands nowadays, man, like it seems like, you know, as opposed to rock bands that were coming up like years and years ago, 60s, 70s, even the 80s, man, you know, you guys weren't, you know, back in that era, you know, you weren't handed shit. I mean, guys were out there really fucking grinding, you know, I mean, you know, playing all the gigs they could play, really, you know, really earning their stripes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I started playing in what, 82.
Yeah.
So yeah, we paid to play at the Whiskey and the Troubadour and all that bullshit. We did all
Yeah.
that, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is. You got to bust it out. Like I was just talking to you know, a fellow associate that had to pretty much put his band down because he got musicians in his band that weren't ready to go on tour. They were a little green, if you
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's people that don't want to hop in a van and drive, you know, 200 miles to go play a show because it's uncomfortable for them. You know,
Yes.
I mean, seriously, if you really want to do this, you got to have that drive in you. If you think you're gonna be going and doing this shit in a limo, you know, I hope you got enough money to pay for that limo, because yeah, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's not the way life is these days. Being a
Yeah.
musician, you want to do this shit, you got to have the balls to do it, and
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
much it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree. Cause yeah, you know, excuse me. You know, even me, I guess, not being in the music industry, you know, I realized through doing the podcast that you know, I had a certain naive side to me where faces will pop up and doing so many episodes. I've had a lot of people on there that I've listened to for years, going back, you know, to my own teen years. And I guess, you know, being that naive, I see them pop up and I think, wow, I've been listening to them for X amount of years. They have to be okay. You know, and then you hear them talk about a day job and you start to be like, what? Wait a minute. You have to work a day job. And then I guess, you know, that was
Yeah.
really like the revelation for me, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just reality, dude. I mean, you look at the way, you know, the economy is these days. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that have, you know, playing some killer ass bands, but they're still working on the side doing other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's just the way it is these days. But you know, but I mean, as being a full-time musician, I mean, you know, I mean, it sounds great and all, but yeah, being away from everybody all the fucking time, like, yeah, dude, like,
Yeah.
it can wear you down, man. I know that for a fact. I know people going through that shit too. So, you know, I'm
And where do
happy
you
with the way things are with us. So. Yeah.
And where do you stand on like when you guys go overseas? You know, I always find it fascinating watching videos on YouTube of these, you know, Wacken Open Air Festival or Bloodstock or this or that, all these great festivals that they seem to pull off over in Europe, you know, where they're really celebrating the music and the whole communal spirit of just that, you know, of being among people that love this music. You know, what do you notice when you're playing in the States? And that's not to impugn our fans here in the States. Obviously, I'm in the United States, but what are the differences you see playing here as opposed to the European audiences? And when he's unstuck, he'll tell us the answer to that question, folks. And until then, we are at the mercy of the internet's whatever whimsical nature, I guess. I don't know. I hope I can remember the question when he does come back. That's what the wacky weed will fucking do to you. I better write it down, folks. Again, another sneak behind the there's always pen in hand here, folks. There's shenanigans going on. Yep, believe it or not, Keith Fernandez does not write for me. I do all my own research, folks. My own research on my guests while we're waiting for Robert to hopefully rejoin us, man. I hope. And again, we lose him again. But again, folks, this is the world we live in. You know, bear with us. That's all I can really say. Bear with us. While he's gone, I will remind you to check us out on Facebook. Just go in there and put in Pod Scum. Other than going to the YouTube channel, which I hope you're watching this on. you can go over there and see what episodes I have just put out. Or, of course, you can get notifications through YouTube, which is even better. Subscribing is the best. Liking shit, commenting, dropping me a line, saying what's up, what you like, what you don't like, who you'd like to see on here. Tell me what a handsome motherfucker I am. I'm down for any of it. This episode, by the way, brought to you by the THC Cake Pen. These things really slap. And, of course, by RC Cola. Saw this in the store the other day and thought, wow, that's old school, man. That's old school. Being 50 years old, man, I remember this shit right here. Stuff is like fine wine. RC Cola. It'll put hair on your chest. No doubt about that. It'll put hair on your chest. I don't know if Robert's going to get back with us or not. I may have to close the show. I don't know. I certainly would like to get him back in here, obviously, and at least bid him a proper farewell. So I am hoping that he does rejoin us. But, I mean, again, if you're sliding through and you're so goddamn high that you forgot when you skip through all of this talking and dialogue of mine, who you were originally watching, just look up and you will see it in the description. But also, I can tell you, it's Robert Cardenas, bass player of, I mean, come on, the pioneers of death metal, Possessed. 1985's Seven Churches. When you say seminal album in a genre, that's what you fucking mean. Seminal album. Seminal. And I don't know if he's going to come back in or not. But I will text him. Well, I am texting him, hoping that he will at least join us and at least help wrap it up. I mean, certainly great to hear his story and his views on things and his, his take on all things Possessed and rock industry and all that good stuff. And he's back again. And hopefully we won't keep him that much longer because, how long do we want to keep tempting the fucking internet gods here? You know what I mean? Like,
what can you do?
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do, and that's why I figured at 50 years old, when I started this thing 9 months ago, I thought, you know what? I am going to call myself the No Frills Podcast, and I'm not going to offer no frills. I'm not going to go into YouTube Editor and worry about editing these parts out when you were gone. I'll bump my gums, and people will either slide their cursor along and go through it, or they're at my mercy. You know what I mean? But I will wait patiently until my guests get back in here. I have nowhere to go, but, everyone wants to hurry through life, and it's like, what are we in a hurry to get to,
Well, yeah, that's why I'm back.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are, and I won't keep you much longer. But I don't know if I've asked you this in the interview yet or not. But I would be remiss in probably really hear about it in the comment section. But and I may have asked you, but did I ask you if there's a timetable on like when we'll get any new Possessed music? Is that anything?
Like I was saying, I'm hoping that we can put something out soon. But we got so much shit going on, dude. We're trying to we got like 7 songs in the pocket right now. So, I think we're shooting for 12.
Yeah. And I love it, man. Like, you will not push the panic button and say, geez, we haven't put anything out.
And we're still just processing stuff,
Yeah. Well, why? Do you think realistically, you in your mind, you'd like to have something out new in 2023?
Probably. I would love to have it this year, but probably not. I don't see it realistically happening this year. For sure next year. I know for sure next year we'll have it out.
But I love the fact though that 7 is not enough though, man. And you don't just want to just trickle the songs out, you know what I mean, and wet people's whistle the way a lot of acts are doing nowadays. I like that old school mentality. I like that old school mentality that you'll get the album when it's fucking done.
Yeah, it might be 10 for all I fucking know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't need. We got a long ass song on there that's like fucking 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty sick. Everybody's gonna enjoy that one.
Well, we've been spoiled, I think, by getting shit like leaked out a lot over the internet, though. And back in the old days, man, like you heard grumblings about something coming out in a magazine if you were lucky. It seems like now we've got so much access that it's almost like there is no joy of like the anticipation of an album getting ready to drop anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this stuff's pretty. It's pretty put away. I don't think anybody's got it out there on the internet. So
yeah.
I hope not. But yeah, I mean, if it is out there, what can we do? It probably doesn't have vocals on it, so we don't give a fuck.
Right.
But yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, we're working our way towards that day.
Yeah,
we're almost there. But yeah, next year for sure.
And I can't let you escape. Fucking connection be damned. I will not let you escape without having you be victimized by my usual hot seat question. If I got to drop you, Robert, on a desert island, man, do you have a desert island pick? I can only leave you there with one fucking album. Do you have an answer to that?
Oh, God damn, dude. Number of the Beast.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because that album, I started playing bass because of that album. And that was the first concert I ever went to when I was a kid was Number of the Beast. So that's the only reason why.
So it means something to you inside as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Strikes a chord with you. And to this day, have you maintained your love and affection for Iron Maiden?
Yeah, I just get tired of some of their songs that sound similar. They sound like other fucking songs. You know what I mean? Like none of them sound like The Prisoner. You know what I mean? None of them sound like shit off their older albums. But you know what? I give them fucking props and hails to fucking Maiden for still going till today.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no fucking doubt. That's once you get an epic band still going till this day, you gotta at least say thank you, for keeping it going.
Well, and I do love the fact that here in the interview, you're wearing an Ozzy Osbourne T-shirt. Where you stand on Ozzy? He's going through a hell of a lot of health problems. You wouldn't be wearing that shirt unless you were a fucking diehard fan, because anybody that wears an Ozzy shirt loves Ozzy. I've at least learned that. I've at least learned that in my life. He's battling a lot of health problems, but then there's grumblings that he's going to try to perform again. I mean, should we just leave Ozzy alone, or do you think this is something he wants to do?
Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Leave him alone.
I mean, it's my own opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, we played Ozfest with them, I think 2019, and he did not sound good.
Yeah, and you don't want to remember.
Just trying to be honest here,
Yeah,
and I love him, but,
you don't want to remember a diminished version of him.
Yeah, of course, man. You want to remember them when they sound good. Nobody wants to watch somebody falling apart and then that's it. You know what I mean? It sucks.
Yeah,
but
and in all your travels, though, traveling around in touring, have there been times when you yourself have met any other people out there in your travels that you've been starstruck by?
Mab.
Huh?
Mab. Michelangelo, but that's yeah, he's great. But I was starstruck by that dude.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a fan. But I mean, there's always somebody interesting you run into. Jeff Tate was I ran into him one time.
A great voice.
Awesome. I mean, it's cool running into old fucking metalheads and great artists that you've looked up to, growing up. But
and as a bass player yourself, you certainly been doing it long enough where I'm sure you're on record somewhere as stating your influences. And I always hate to word it that way. Oh, your influences. But who are some guys who play bass though that you just love their playing? Whether it's the tone they get, or are there guys who you'll just stop and listen to their playing and admire it whenever you hear them?
Well, I mean, Steve Harris, of course.
Yeah.
Maiden, Joey Vera, Armin Dane.
Yes.
Shit, dude. Cliff Burton, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are Geddy Lee. Those were the four for me. Even Geezer, of course. But yeah, it's a different types of playing and that just kept me going. So yeah, those were my main influences growing up.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, obviously you're playing extreme metal. You remember the first extreme metal? You know, the first really ferocious shit, you know, that you would think of as extreme metal. You remember, you know, what was the first artist that you were subjected to? Like, what really fucking, you know, turned you on to extreme metal, the heaviest shit that you first remember?
Probably either Schizophrenia or the Morbid Angel demo.
Okay.
Yeah, the Morbid Angel demo was probably, yeah, that was definitely the turning point for me. And what else? Let me see. Yeah,
And
Death.
that's back when death metal was scary too.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the demo days. That's when everything was like pretty fucking raw.
Yeah.
You know, but
and you couldn't just go out and look these guys up on the internet either, man. You know what I mean? Like, there was an air of mystery to them too. You know what I mean? You got these guys doing these heavy albums and you know very little about them, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you got a fucking cassette from some guy that just got it from another guy that got it from another guy.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's kind of cool.
Or as we would refer to it as the good old days.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I had no idea how my friend got this fucking cassette. But then again, I ended up talking to one of my other friends, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the one that gave him the fucking cassette." I was like, "Oh, okay." So all these years, we wondered who the fuck it was, and it was this guy, you know. But yeah, you know,
and then meanwhile,
were the best, you know.
And then meanwhile, there's a whole audience of people who may stumble across this who might say, "I got to go Google what the fuck a cassette is."
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, you know, these days you can find shit, I guess, on what, Bandcamp or something like that.
Bandcamp's a big one, yeah, and you know, I know that like my wife has gotten, you know, the whole family a family Apple Music platform. So I mean, you know,
cool.
It is tough though to not still want like a physical product. As an old school guy, you know what I mean? Whether it's a CD, you know, you used to pore over that shit when you were young and really open up the fucking like you know, the gatefold and read everything and study album art. It was a whole experience getting an album.
Yeah, I mean, the gatefold for me was Kiss Alive 2.
Yeah.
That pretty much fucked me up at the age of like 12 years old or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So gatefolds were fucking great, right? That was my introduction to a gatefold.
Yeah.
Was Kiss Alive 2. So yeah, fuck yeah.
And like the way you studied that stuff was biblical though. Like you'd read lyrics and then you would read like the notes, like when like, you know, oh, so-and-so would like to thank, and then it'd be a bunch of bands that they were on tour with. And then you'd get turned on to even more bands, you know? It was just
that's the way it was, you know?
I know.
Growing up.
And is it disheartening as a musician though, like when you put out a full album, and this is probably not a healthy way to think at all, maybe this is just my own neurosis, but when you put out a great album, you know, there's so many, like I said, someone just told me the other day in an interview that 60,000 new songs are being put up on these streaming platforms on a daily basis. 60,000 fucking songs. You know, there's so much influx of music coming in. Do you ever think as an artist, like, you know, like you put out this album and maybe some of the fucking songs are singles and maybe some of the deeper tracks are really the shit that you want people to hear, but just people just aren't consuming music like that no more? It drives me fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's why you have to write songs that are a little, you know, interesting. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, that's why I try to like tell you about, you know, songwriting these days. Like a lot of these people just think, oh, I wrote a song, it's gonna be great. I mean, you have to develop that skill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit just doesn't come overnight. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, if you think your shit can, you know, match up against, you know, the fucking top sellers out there, go for it. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Let's find out.
Yeah, you're right. Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. I mean, would it be hard though right now though? I mean, you know, if you're a musician starting right now in 2023 though, I mean, you know, it's certainly, I think most people would agree though, it's very tough to get traction and attain commercial success the way the business is structured nowadays.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I mean, you know,
regardless of genre.
Yeah, but you got the platforms. You know, the platforms are what makes it harder.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you having platforms now, you got, you know, thousands and thousands of bands on there. So
Yeah.
That doesn't make it any easier for anybody else. But you know, that's why you have to make your shit sound good. You know, make it interesting. You know.
And unfortunately, you know, I read a lot of things like where they say, you know, a lot of bands get back like just because of the high profile of their social media accounts and stuff. You know what I mean? How popular they are at that time, and that there are bands that trickle through that maybe are making fucking crap music, you know, but they're getting popular. You know, i.e. an image or looks or whatever.
Yeah, it's looks. Yeah, that's what it is.
All of a sudden, the label looks and says, "Wow, these guys got 2.4 million followers on Facebook." You know?
But their fucking band sounds like shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we recently, me and Jeff were talking about a certain band about that had to do pertaining to that they had a shitload of followers, or they were playing this huge fucking arena, but their music was just pretty much mediocre, just kind of like biting off a bunch of other metal. You know, I don't know. It was weird.
And certainly not to call you, and certainly not to call you out on this, and you certainly have the right to plead the fifth, and I respect that, man. But are you willing to name this fucking band, or do we keep it under wraps?
Nah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not.
But they know who. But they know who they are.
Just put it this way. Look, those guys, they're working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look at it as, you know what, they're working. They're selling their fucking shit. Fuck it. But it just trips me out that a lot of these labels will not sign a band no matter how good they are, and they're more worried about how many people are looking at their fucking account, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't get it. Like even with my fucking rock band, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter how good the songs are. It depends on how many people are following you. That's fucking lame.
Yeah.
You know? I just don't get it. But
whatever.
That's the world we're in, and that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and it is really sad. You know, that's why I've talked with other people on here before about why I don't think there will be those, you know, iconic characters that we remember from years back, regardless of genre. You're not going to see your Bob Dylans or your Princes or your Michael Jacksons again.
Nobody writes music like that.
Yeah, I feel like you're just not going to get those iconic international fucking global stars anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, those were different artists, and now you got all these people that like never studied music, and they just decided to start writing, and next thing you know that they're pop stars or whatever. But you know, you don't have Bob Dylan's, or you don't even have anything like that, because that whole way of thinking is dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you look at artists these days, they either want to be super fast and super technical with no feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And that's what's so sad about the technology being able to take over, because, you know, I think in order to make music, and this is coming from a layman that isn't a musician, but I feel like when you have an instrument in your hand, you are automatically thereby putting heart and soul into your music. But when you can sit home and make songs and make an album like on a computer like this, I mean, you know, it ceases to really be a talent anymore at that point, you know?
Well, I mean, I think you can make a song at albums at home that have feeling, but ones that are made out of like just to drop a bunch of beats and it sounds like a typewriter.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, there's so many people that write like that. You know what I mean? Like you got to start thinking about, does your band sound like everybody else, or can I totally pick your band out of all these other bands? You know what I mean?
Right.
Is it that unique enough to where you stand out above everyone else? You know what I mean? So that's me. I would think, well, if I'm going to start a band, I'm going to make sure that it doesn't sound like anyone else.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you need originality to stand out, especially nowadays. You know, at the very least, I mean, you have to at least have that. I feel like, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because for every band that comes out there, I feel like there's certainly like, you know, 100 other bands that sound like them. You know.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
And now you can do so much stuff in the studio. I mean, you know, you can do so many bells and whistles. I mean, you know, you can even do it live. You see bands like Motley Crue and Kiss getting their asses kicked on YouTube for being caught using these smoke and mirror type trips. And again, I'm not a musician, so I don't know how they do it, but they're getting busted doing it. Something.
Well, that's where the talent comes in. Like if you're gonna write an album that doesn't sound like anybody else, but you can't play it live because you know, because it's too hard to play live, then maybe you shouldn't have wrote the fucking album. You know, or maybe you shouldn't have painted yourself into the corner.
Yeah.
You know, like by doing parts and adding a bunch of layers and a bunch of shit that you can't do live.
Yeah.
You know, that's
And
just the way it is.
And as a musician who plays live, and I do think most extreme metal acts, whether it's punk, hardcore, death metal, thrash metal, you know, I think at least from what I see, going to fucking bars and club and dive bars to, you know, to see iconic fucking thrash and death metal bands, you know, they're certainly shooting straight from the hip. It's honest. I don't believe those smoke and mirror tricks are going on. But you yourself as a fan, you know, do you let bands, you know, like Kiss get a free pass on something like that? Or when you go see a band in live, do they got to be delivering the genuine article, even if there's some fuck ups in there?
You know what? If somebody wants to use it as a crutch, I mean, what can I say?
Right.
You know, I'm just there standing there watching them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can't be judgmental on somebody that decides to want to do that. It's just a crutch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, I guess if you're using it because you can't replicate or hit certain,
you know,
if you can't replicate the sound from 30, 40 years ago, and not many people can, I guess if they're augmenting their performance or whatever, but you know, then I think it should be billed more as, okay, this is not so much Kiss live, but this is like, you know, you're coming to see a Kiss performance, you know, regardless of how they get the job done, you know?
Yeah, of course, definitely. I mean, as long as they get the job done and they sound good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important. You know, I mean, as for vocal, you know, stuff being added in there, you know, what do you expect? These guys are in their fucking 60s, man.
Yeah.
Come on. You know,
yeah, I agree with you. I think people sometimes do come down on them. I mean, a little bit hard if they're still out there putting on that show. And I don't think Kiss were ever that pretentious, where they would think that you're coming to see them because they're virtuoso players anyway. You know what I mean? You're coming for the spectacle of it all. You know?
Yeah, it's a show. I mean,
yeah.
It's just like fucking going to go see the fucking circus. You know, same shit. That's the way I look at it. It's a fucking circus act.
Yeah,
just like everything else is these days.
Yeah,
you know.
You
got the tiger doing the stupid fucking act. You got the, you know, giraffe over there doing some shit. Everybody's looking. You know.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's like it's just as important to hear the songs as it is to see Gene dripping blood from his tongue or fireworks going off or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like he's fucking balancing a fucking ball on his nose, right? Same shit. Same shit. You know, magic, God. Right? You think a fucking deal with the magic, right?
Yeah. All he's got to do is just be juggling like some fucking the fucking bowling pins that are on fire or something, and riding a unicycle.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what it is, dude. It's a circus act.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But you know what though? I mean, shit. There's still people that want to pay to see it. I mean, like, we're at least going into the 5th or 6th year of this farewell tour already.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everybody wants to see the circus act. It's been around for fucking ever.
Yeah, people don't want to let it go. They just don't want to say goodbye to it. Totally.
Yeah, they don't, man. That's just the way it is.
Pretty funny. It's pretty funny that people and to see some of these packages too. Like if you want to go backstage and rub elbows with Gene Simmons, you can get these ridiculous $5,000, $10,000 VIP packages. Like these guys are just gonna, you know, and this is not to impugn Kiss. They've done a magnificent job of marketing and branding themselves and coming up with every possible Kiss item you could possibly want. So I guess they've laughed all the way to the bank. I mean, they're obviously the savvy businessmen that they are, but they're literally going to squeeze every last fucking drop. You know, they're really going to wring the towel out. You know, they're going to get it all.
Yeah, that's what Gene does, dude. You know?
Yeah, God love him, dude.
You give him money and he walks away.
Yeah. And then you're sitting there saying, "Oh my God,
thank you, Gene." And then you're like, "Thank you, Gene, for taking my money."
Yeah. And then what do you go home with? You go home with maybe some picture of him and you and your fucking kid, and you got this thing for $5,000. This picture.
No, you got a picture of him walking away with your money.
Yeah, that's
the picture.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, and to be that pretentious too. Like, I respect every guy going out there and getting their grind and making their money and making sure that their money's right. But I mean, come on. I mean, you know, how much more does Kiss need in the coffers at this point? You know what I mean? Like, it is pretty crazy that you still got to pay. You got to take out a second mortgage on your house to go back and meet them backstage. You know, I mean, like,
well,
insane.
Yeah, well, I think he was trying to like see if he could make himself a bed made out of money.
Yeah, he should have been able to do that a long time ago. I feel like, I mean, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
you could get a Kiss coffin fucking 20 years ago. I mean,
Well, I think his coffin has like it's all lined with $100 bills.
yeah, you should at least get that, man, for the price you're probably going to pay for it. I mean, it's the least he could do.
Yeah.
Oh
Totally,
man, it's great, getting the chance to talk to somebody that's a true rock warrior that's been doing this a long time, man. I could sit here and shoot the shit with you all night. I want to end on a good note when our connection is fucking good, man, because the parts when you weren't frozen were fucking awesome and an awesome conversation, and I loved getting the chance to get your. Yeah, I love getting a chance to get your perspective. I mean, it's always great to talk to somebody that's playing with a long tenure in a fucking legendary death metal band and bringing us killer tunes, man. So, I appreciate you spending the time, man. Thank you so much, man. It's been a blast.
Okay, man, no problem, man. You take it easy, Rex. Right?
Yeah. And I'll talk to you, man. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, dude. Till next time.
Later, man. Later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. There he goes, everybody. That is Robert Cardenas, bass player for Possessed. For fuck's sake, Possessed. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Possessed or death? Death or possessed? The correct answer is Possessed. And I'm sorry to all the Chuck Schuldiner fans, and with all due respect to Chuck, legends in their own fucking right. No one's going to take that away from them. It is neck and neck, but the slight edge by a cunt hair. A cunt hair. I'm sorry to use such profanity, but that's the measurement we got to go with here. And he's coming up on a fantastic tenure. I've been in the band since 2012, 11 years in, and making kick-ass music with the great Jeff Becerra. Come on, man. The death metal fucking legend. Coming out there in a fucking wheelchair after being shot and fucking still rocking the fucking stage and commanding it better than fucking dudes fucking half his age. Still putting on a fucking show, a true showman, and go out and do your fucking homework. Do your death metal fucking homework. Trace it back. Ancestry.com. Possessed was there fucking first. Sorry, death metal. That's yo daddy. And I appreciate it, man. Technical difficulties aside, when he got frozen a couple times, Robert had to go out and come in. I kept the conversation going because it's obviously the No Frills podcast, and I don't edit shit. I'm just going to fucking fly off the fucking cuff and entertain y'all. If you hate the sound of my voice and my face, pull your little fucking cursor along and get back to fucking Robert Cardenas. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I love getting the chance to chop it up with him, man. A legend and a legendary band. And until we get together and do this thing again, let me remind you guys to take it easy and keep it sleazy.